Hi everybody! Voltas is one of the most amazing brands in the Indian business ecosystem. And if you look at the stock price of Voltas, you will see that it has shot up by 14,200%, going from just over 6.93 rupees in 2000 to 995 rupees in 2022. So a mere 10,000 rupees invested in Voltas in 2000 would be worth 14 lakh rupees today. But while most of us only know Voltas as a Tata-backed market leader in air conditioners market, very few of us know that there was a time when Voltas was almost on the verge of being shut down. They were in such a pathetic state that they went from being a market leader with a 40% market share in 1990 to just 6% market share in 2001. But suddenly something crazy happened and the same Voltas brand went on to become a market leader in the next 10 years and even today stands as a market leader for 10 consecutive years. So the question is, how did this failing brand go on to become a market leader? What exactly was their business strategy? And most importantly, as future entrepreneurs and students of business, what are the lessons that we need to learn from the iconic revival of Voltas? This video is brought to you by Skillshare. People, recently, we've been building our team and our main focus has been on building their creative confidence. And one of the classes that has helped us with this is Unlocking Your Potential class by Emma Gannon, wherein she teaches about identifying patterns, cutting our comparison, silencing our inner critic and much more. We took this class on Skillshare, which is an online learning community with thousands of classes on various topics. I personally like Skillshare because of the ease of learning on this platform and the variety of classes that it has, from video editing to productivity to even graphic designing. They have it all. Skillshare offers membership with meaning. With so much to explore, real projects to create, and with the support of fellow creatives, it empowers you to accomplish real growth. You get unlimited access to their entire library of classes at an annual subscription cost of less than 1,800 rupees annually, which means less than 150 rupees per month, which is lesser than the cost of pizza. I have a custom link in the description just for you guys, and the first 1,000 people to click on that link will get 1 month of free trial for Skillshare. So, all thanks to Skillshare for supporting us for this video. This is a story that dates back to 1990 India. During this time, Voltas had been a market leader since 38 years and had a market share of 40%. But in 1991, the Indian economy opened up.
India is on the move again. We shall make the future happen.
In July 1991, India kicked off a series of reforms to unleash its economy from the stifling rigidity of the socialist era.
We have to harness all our latent resources for a second industrial revolution. We have to accept the need for restructuring and reform if we are to avoid an increasing marginalization of India in the evolving world economy.
This is when the announcement of liberalization happened, and soon enough, giant foreign players like LG, Samsung and Whirlpool entered the market. And suddenly, Voltas' market share started dropping, and the same Voltas brand, which was once a market leader, had only 6% market share, and it could hardly stand strong against the foreign competitors. This is when the Tatas realized that something needs to be done about the Voltas brand, and they even gave out an ultimatum that the company might be shut down if they do not deliver. But you know what, guys? Suddenly, in the next 10 years, something crazy happened, because of which Voltas went on to become a market leader by 2012, beating every single brand in its category. And they call this strategy the Big Bang strategy. The question is, what is this Big Bang strategy? Well, let's understand from the basics. You see, guys, for a product to become legendary, there are two pillars of value that needs to be delivered to the customers: tangible value and perceived value. And for a product like air conditioner, there's a third pillar also, which is after sales support. And the product of these three pillars is what defines the value of a product in the market. And if any one of these pillars drop, the value of your products will drop. In simple words, if I make you sit in the best restaurant in the world, the perceived value of the experience is going to be exemplary. So the music, the aroma, the lighting, all of it will enhance your experience of dining. But after inviting you to this wonderful restaurant, if I serve you rotten chicken, would you love it? No, right? So you see, even though the perceived value of the experience was great, because the tangible value, as in the food, was not great, the experience of dining turns out to be disgusting. And at the same time, if I serve you the best pizza in the world, but if I place 100 boiled cockroaches near your table, would you like it? No, right? But guys, what is the problem? The cockroaches are not on your pizza, they're just on the table.
इस सज्जन को क्या तकलीफ है भाई? क्या तकलीफ है इनको?
But you still won't eat it, right? Why? Because here, although the tangible value is great, the perception of the food has been ruined to such an extent that now the experience is disgusting. So you see, for a product to be great, it needs to have both perceived value and tangible value. In case of air conditioners, the factors that define tangible value are cost, efficiency and utility. The factors that define perceived value are design, color and brag-worthy features. Not features, but brag-worthy features. And for support, there is obviously pre-sale service, after-sale service and customer support. Now let's have a look at each one of these factors and see how Voltas identified and fixed each one of these issues properly. The first problem that they encountered was the cost of manufacturing of Voltas AC. Back then, this cost was a lot, and in spite of the high cost, the design of Voltas AC was so bad that Voltas was not called as an AC, but it was called as a dabba. Secondly, the company had no model for catering to the lower end of the market, as in people wanted to buy an AC at lesser than 15,000 rupees, but since there was no AC in that range, they settled in for coolers. So, three things: cost, design of the upper end product and lack of lower end products. This is where Voltas very cleverly partnered with the largest AC manufacturer in the world. This company was Fedders International, and this way they were able to get both tech and design for launching the best in line air conditioners in India. For example, if Voltas orders 10,000 units of each component, it might cost them $5 per unit. But when Fedders places the same order, it will order 1 million units at $2 per unit because it has got plants all across the world. So Voltas could get the component at $2.5 per unit because of their partnership. And as a result of this partnership, Voltas was able to manufacture ACs at the lowest cost in India. This cost went from 10,400 rupees per unit to under 8,000 rupees per unit, which is a drop of 20%. This is also the reason why Voltas was able to offer competitive features like purification filters, ionizers to kill bacteria and the economy mode. On top of that, they also shifted their manufacturing base from Thane to Dadra. Why? Because Dadra was a sales tax exempt zone, so Voltas was able to pass on another 12.5% savings to its customers. This is how Voltas fixed the two primary issues with their product, which were cost and design. Then we move on to the second point, which is the untapped market below the 20,000 rupees range. For this, Voltas partnered with the manufacturing companies in China, Taiwan and Malaysia, and they launched a 0.6 to 0.8 ton air conditioner that costed just 9,990 rupees. This way, they were able to tap into the huge market of coolers and transition these customers to buying ACs. And this brings me to the third aspect, which is efficiency. Now people, as we all know, our fathers are extremely worried about electricity bills and we've all been scolded by them several times throughout our lifetime.
बिजली का बिल तेरा बाप भरेगा। अब अगर तूने बिजली वेस्ट की, कसम से कह रहा हूं, तेरे ही हाथ पैर उखाड़ के, तेरे को ही चिपका के, तेरे को विंडमिल बना के रास्ते पे घुमा के बिजली नहीं जमा की ना हरामखोर, फिर देख लेना।
Now over here, did you notice something? Although we know that all our fathers get pissed at costly electricity bills, nobody really knows which number in that electricity bill will make them happy. Is it 2,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 500 rupees or even 250 rupees? Which number is good enough to actually pay an electricity bill happily? But guess what? The Voltas team actually got to the ground to analyze how much bill is acceptable for an AC in an Indian family. And they got to know that if you design ACs which contribute less than 1,000 rupees, then suddenly the overall market for air conditioners will triple to 30 lakh units. So now they went back to the drawing board, did some engineering to try and understand how can they actually bring down the electricity bill as close as possible to this golden number of 1,000 rupees. And even the sales staff was educated enough to tell the customers how much bill a particular product would generate considering the usage of the customers. This way the customers actually felt safer while making the purchase of the AC. In fact, Voltas even launched a special ad to address the huge market of retired couples who are often skeptical to buy an AC, and it reassured them that the bill won't burn a hole in their pockets. This is how the factors of tangible value were first fixed in Voltas air conditioners. And then we move on to the most difficult part of the Voltas strategy, and that is brand building to fix the perceived value of Voltas. Now people, listen to this very, very carefully. After conducting a thorough market research, they found out that Voltas was perceived as an outdated, white dabba and an old man's product. So here's where Voltas came up with a buzzword that did not just change the fate of Voltas but the entire air conditioners market itself. This buzzword was intelligent cooling. Now, just to give you a modern example of this power of buzzword, today you will see in the market that there is this buzzword called smart, and anything with the word smart somehow ends up being perceived as better and more feature loaded. So we've got smart fridge, smart AC, smart bulb, smart tube light, smart homes, and even smart switchboards. But you know what, guys, the catch over here is that there is no standard definition to what exactly smart means. Sometimes it could be Alexa, sometimes it could be digitalization, sometimes it's motion sensing, and sometimes it's just the feature of controlling a freaking bulb through a smartphone.
मजा आया और मैं ये जो मजा है हिंदुस्तान के हर व्यक्ति को देना चाहता हूं.
So you see, the term smart is just a blanket term and there is no consensus on what exactly is the definition of a smart product. But the one thing that you will observe in the market is that the moment you call a product smart, people be like, smart bola hai to kuch to alag hoga hi. So a smart product is by default perceived as a better and a more feature loaded product. Now, in case of Voltas, this buzzword was intelligent cooling, which essentially meant conventional features like uniform cooling, energy saving, timers and air filters. But in reality, after being repeated a million times, intelligent cooling just became a blanket term for being feature loaded. And this was a crucial stepping stone for Voltas because now the perception of Voltas was changing from a white dabba to a feature loaded intelligent air conditioner. And then Voltas hit its masterstroke with its all-weather AC in 2012. You see, guys, India is much bigger than we can imagine. We are such a huge country with a vast diversity in climate that when it comes to AC, if I ask you what is the purpose of AC in your life, most of you would say that you would use an AC to drive away the heat. But you know what, guys? Voltas understood that their ACs could actually be used beyond that to solve different problems in different parts of the country for different climatic conditions. Their ACs could be used in a dusty climate to keep the house clean, in a humid climate to stay dry, during the rainy season to stay sweat-free, and even during winters to stay dry. And after identifying these pain points, they launched the Voltas all-weather AC, which could literally be distributed all across the country. And at the same time, they designed custom advertisements for each of these scenarios in different parts of India. This is where we saw one of the most memorable marketing campaigns in TV history, which portrayed the story of Mr. Murthy, who often gets transferred from Delhi to Kota to Chennai to even Cherrapunji. Fun fact over here is that each place that he gets transferred to has a different weather. But somehow, Murthy is happy everywhere. Why? Because he has got his Voltas all-weather AC. This is how Voltas distributed different ads to resonate with different parts of India, and at the same time they told a memorable story to signify the problem that their product was solving. And quite evidently, it turned out to be one of the most successful campaigns of Voltas that went on for 6 years until 2018. And lastly, both marketing and product was backed by a lifelong service support throughout India by the Voltas team. Therefore, as a result of this relentless pursuit to build a great tangible and perceived value, if you look at the growth of Voltas, you will see that in the next 12 years, that is from 2001 to 2012, Voltas went from having just 6% market share to becoming a market leader with 18.3% share, beating LG, which stood at 17.7%. And more importantly, it has been a market leader for 10 years now with a market share of 25.4% as of January 2022. This is the story of the iconic rise of Voltas from the ashes. And this brings me to the most important part of the episode, and that are the business lessons that we need to learn from the rise of Voltas. Lesson number 1. Every product has two elements, perceived value and tangible value. And even if one of them gets messed up, it will nullify the effect of the other. And for products like AC, we have the third pillar, which is customer support. Lesson number 2. Whenever you do your market research, especially for a generic market, please make 3 columns. Tangible value problems, perception problems and miscellaneous. Otherwise, usually what happens is when you try to solve a problem for your product, if you do not categorize your problems, you will end up solving for a problem that doesn't even exist. For example, if you go to our fathers and you tell them that this phone has 5100 milliampere battery, they will understand it. But if you tell them that this lasts for 36 hours, then they'll be able to understand the gravity of the specification. So when you divide your problems into tangible, perception and miscellaneous, you will be able to categorize the problems properly. Eventually, you will be able to solve them. And lastly, if you want to build a D2C brand, the Murthy example, although a decade old, it is very, very relevant in the social media world that we live in. Because back then, you had to play the same ad everywhere. But today, you could literally choose to play a custom ad for a different set of audience in every single city. And that will give you an insane amount of conversion. So do look into it. That's all from my side for today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.